Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Life in the Fast Lane. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com. We're going to go over Darlington and, of course, the Formula One race in Miami, which had some fireworks there towards the end. An amazing weekend of racing. I loved every second of it. I wish the betting would have been better. We were 2-2, so we got juiced a little bit. I was so excited about the action, and then just a little ho-hum weekend going 2-2. So one of the bummers was that we took over 9.5 cautions in the NASCAR race, and there were 9. And there were a couple of opportunities for them to throw the yellow flag, which they normally do, and then they just didn't. So what are you going to do? Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And don't forget to leave your comments and picks below. Please leave your picks below. I want to see what everyone likes. I always enjoy seeing that. You guys give me some information and stats sometimes that I'm not aware of. So it's really helpful. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell every time that you'll get notified that Life in the Fast Lane is on. Shout out to Steve Merrill at WagerTalk.com and Rocky Atkinson at sportsmemo.com. Rocky's having a good NASCAR year as well. So my fellow NASCAR handicappers, love those guys. Let's do a quick Darlington recap. Joey Logano wins stage 1. Chastain, listen, Ross Chastain isn't going anywhere. This guy's here to stay, and he's going to be around for a long, long time as long as that he has the equipment. He wins stage 2. And then controversy, I guess, Joey Logano wins the race. So the controversy is Joey Logano slams into Byron to move him out of the way. And that was not a, I'm going to bump you to move you out of the way so I can win. That was I'm going to bump you into the wall so I can win, and you're going to finish way back in the pack. And it was crazy because as soon as they do the post-race interview with Logano says, no, you're not going to put me in the wall and, not get retaliation for it. And I was thinking, what was he talking about? And I couldn't find it. But then NASCAR releases an in-car camera angle that shows Logano after that restart. Byron, I don't think he meant to do it. I could see where Logano took it as intentional. I think Byron got a little bit loose, but Byron absolutely slid up and forced Logano into the wall. So when you're dealing with something that's right there at the end, you're dealing with a win. It's Darlington, and it's been a hard race. Everyone's brushed the wall pretty much. I could absolutely see where Logano just said, I'm not going to take this. So I don't know what the ramifications are going to be. Byron was pretty funny afterwards. He's calling Logano a moron and an idiot and does this stuff all the time. But I thought Logano was completely out of line until I saw that in-car camera angle. Now I'm on the fence a little bit about it. But as they say, racing's racing and rubbing is racing, and NASCAR is certainly not going to penalize Logano for that. NASCAR loves this stuff, so maybe we have a little bit of a Logano and Byron kind of a, rivalry starting to brew. I don't think we're going to see much this week from Kansas. You'd have to have a lot happen for those two to be right next to each other on a track like Kansas, but who knows? But impressive win for Logano. He's been fantastic. He's an all or nothing type of guy this year. So when you're betting on him, you're either going to lose big or win big. So let's go to the Stenhouse Award. We have to mention the commentator at the Formula One race in the pre-race when he does the grid walk. This has been going on for a long, long time. But what's amazing about it is when, like years ago, when they did the grid walk, then the commentator and announcer would walk and he would just find drivers and crew members. But now it's just a celebrity red carpet fest. So now instead of asking like a crew chief what he thinks about the race, he's there with Venus and Serena Williams. And you're not going to get everything right. And unfortunately for the commentator, he thought he was talking to Patrick Mahomes. Instead, he was talking to Duke freshman star Paulo Banchero, and it was awkward, but it made great for social media, and that is what Formula One is looking for. That is why they do that grid walk, is moments for that, but that was a hilarious moment. And then just a few seconds later, Lance Stroll in an interview accidentally spills the beans that him and his teammate Sebastian Vettel are going to have to start from the pits because of a fuel issue. And right as he's talking about it, some member of the Aston Martin crew comes over and grabs him and pulls him away from the interview, which was hilarious. Obviously, Stroll is not supposed to be talking about that. So Aston Martin had their fuel temperature too cold, which I've never heard of before, but that was a penalty. And then Pierre Gasly slows down, going way too hard into a corner, and then he decides to speed up, doesn't check his rearview mirrors and notice Lando Norris was behind him, causes a massive wreck that completely changed that race. So moving on to NASCAR, we've got two nominees here. We've got Brad Keselowski spinning early in the race, so then he has to come in and use a new set of tires, which he didn't want to do. Then his right front brakes just completely break. The brakes were broken. He wrecks, takes out Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch throws a fit. And then Kurt Busch, as a pit stop, his wheel comes off as he pulls out. However, his pit crew did a great job of making sure Kurt did not leave the pit, so they didn't get all of those penalties. But the winner is clearly Brad Keselowski. He spins early. They get it fixed, and then his brakes just they just fail completely. He wrecks Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch throws a fit. He brings his car into the pits, and then he just parks it in the middle of pit road and makes NASCAR tow it away. And then they ask him why he put it there. He's like, the car wouldn't move anymore. It's like, you just drove around the track and through the pits, and like you did it because you're acting like a complete baby, which we want. Like, we want all of the Kyle Busch greatness. We love his highs and his lows, but that's got to be the winner, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. So. All right, let's talk a little bit about the race this week for NASCAR. We're going to Kansas. This is a cookie cutter race, or cookie cutter track. So let's just take a look at the top 5 average finishers at Kansas. Kevin Harvick has been really good here. His average finish last 5 is 2.8, which is incredible. Up next, Martin Truex, 6.3. Truex hated his new car to begin this year, and he seems like he's kind of starting to figure it out a little bit, but he's the second best average finish here at 6.3. He's tied with Chase Elliott at 6.3. Brad Keselowski, who I will not be betting on anytime soon, his best finish, or he's the fourth best average finishing here with 6.5, and then we have Denny Hamlin at 8.3. Interesting article where Denny Hamlin talked about how they won a race, so they're set in the playoffs, but they've had such bad finishes that they know they're not going to compete for the regular season championship of points. So what he said is, we're going to change our strategy. We're just going for playoff points. So we're going for stage wins. They're just going to take a lot of chances to try and build up as many playoff points as possible, which is brilliant. It's absolutely the way that someone like him should navigate it. You're already locked into the playoffs. Why not try and get as many of those stage points and playoff points as possible? I don't know how that's going to totally affect the handicapping, but if you have books that let you bet on guys to win stage 1 or 2, Denny Hamlin is probably a pretty good bet. He's going for these stage wins. So when everyone pits, he may be a guy that stays out right towards the end of a stage. So I'd look at Denny Hamlin doing good in the first and second stages. So let's take a look here real quick. The top 3. Here's what I did with Kansas. It's hard. I always like looking at momentum coming into this race, but we've had a lot of tracks that are not similar to Kansas. So we raced at Las Vegas and then Auto Club earlier this season, but that was when the season was just getting started. The new cars were kind of being broken in. So your top 3 average finishers, I took Darlington, Las Vegas, and Auto Club. Your top 3 are Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick. So take that for what it's worth. Vegas and Auto Club were so early in the season, I don't really read too much into them. And when you're doing your handicapping, please don't forget, because I almost made this mistake. Atlanta's a cookie cutter track, but they're running it like a restrictor plate now. So don't take Atlanta and compare it to Vegas and Auto Club. All right, let us now take a little trip into the Slipstream. We'll go over the Miami Formula One race, which I thought was fantastic. It was a party, just like I thought it was. I thought the grid walk was amazing. Shout out to whatever Pharrell Williams was on when he got interviewed during the grid walk. Good Lord, that man was I've been on cloud 9, but that was a cloud that was way above cloud 9's for Pharrell Williams. We got an interview with DJ Khaled. We had Serena and Venus. We had the Lance Stroll. We had the Patrick Mahomes mistake. It was just fantastic. I loved all of it. The crowd was super pumped and super hyped. I thought this was a big win for Formula One, being down in Miami for the first time. Verstappen gets the win. Not really exciting. I was happy to cash Max Verstappen to get the win. He made pretty quick work of Leclerc, and I think it's pretty clear that Red Bull and Verstappen have the best car right now. So not too exciting the first half of the race. This was a track that turned out to be pretty tough to pass on. Then the Pierre Gasly wrecking into Lando Norris. It brings out the safety car, and it completely flipped the race. I personally made a little live bet on Max to win by over 6 seconds when it was clear he was running away with it. And then, of course, the wreck brings out the safety car. Max does hold off Leclerc. I thought Perez really screwed the pooch on this one. He was in fourth and had the freshest tires, and he's trying to get Carlos Sainz, which he could have done, but he got too amped up and made a dumb move. He overcooks it trying to get around him. And I just, that's kind of the difference between Perez and these guys and Leclerc and Verstappen. That move was really stupid. All he had to do was just wait and bide his time. You were going to get your DRS, and you didn't have to force that move. He blew his chance at a podium. And then we have Vettel and Mick Schumacher in the middle of the pack. They get into it. They have a big wreck, and those two wrecks just flipped a lot of bets. I was part of some of my fellow Formula One wagers that when we got word about the Aston Martin starting from the pit, we bet against him, and that one wreck just changed everything for it. So took a couple of L's on the live betting based on those wrecks, but I would make those bets 10 times out of 10. So no Formula One race this week, but we do go to Spain the week after, and you can already bet on Max Verstappen to win, which I probably will be doing later today. You probably should do the same to get the best odds. It just looks like Red Bull's faster. So, all right, let's do a best bet. We're going to go back to NASCAR. This one jumped off the page to me. This is in DraftKings. Joey Logano over Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney has not been running well. 17th and 26th the last 2 weeks. He was good at the short tracks. Finished 5th, 4th, and 7th. That was at Bristol, the dirt track, Martinsville, and Richmond. But on the bigger tracks, Logano's just been way better. So finished 13 spots ahead of Blaney at Auto Club, 22 spots ahead of him at Las Vegas, and then 16 spots ahead of him at Darlington. So I'm looking at those three tracks, and I'm just seeing Joey Logano in a completely different world than what Ryan Blaney has been running at. Not sure what's going on with Blaney at the bigger tracks, but it's just not been working for him. So, and this one's at minus 110. So I would encourage you guys to grab that if you have DraftKings, or just search some different books and grab that one, Logano over Ryan Blaney. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this week. Life in the Fast Lane. Really appreciate you guys diving in. All my plays can be found at WagerTalk.com. By the time you're watching this, definitely my NASCAR pack will be up. You can grab that at WagerTalk.com under my profile page. So let's make this another profitable NASCAR race. Good luck with all your bets, and we will see you next week on Life in the Fast Lane.